Hello everybody and welcome back to the Fortress of Solitude. Today we're going to be talking about Flash issue 28 by Mark Waid, Christopher Cantwell, Vasco Georgiev and Matt Herms. All Fight Month continues this issue as Wally, carrying Impulse, runs into the timeline away from the 1908 Russian era to April 23rd, the day Barry Allen got his powers in Central City. Arriving 15 minutes before Barry will get his powers, Wally does a classic Back to the Future gag and puts the unconscious Wally down alone on a park bench, knowing full well he needs to get the young man some help, but with only 15 minutes to help Barry, he doesn't know who to go to. Wally wonders how his own powers are still working though if the Legion successfully prevented Barry from becoming the Flash, as Wally and every Flash after him are all derived from Barry's legacy, so he, like Bart, should have no powers, and the only other one who is separate from all of this is Jay Garrick. So these first couple of pages were really just a catch up on the story up until now, and also kind of refocus the story away from Impulse to make it more Wally-centric, as he's the only one who can help them get everything back to normal. Bart has been kind of just relegated to, I guess, like a MacGuffin or something, because he's not really part of this story or part of this issue at all. He's just kind of like in an unconscious state for the entire issue. Just strange considering the entire story is named after him. This story is called Impulse Point. Like I said in my review of the last issue, I have no idea why we had this sudden shift into a story that seems to be doing exactly the same as what the Impulse Point story had set up. The timeline is fucked and the heroes have to fix it. The reframing is just so odd, and they should have just started with this part of the story, going after the Flash legacy. Wally's story takes a backseat as we get to the main event of the issue, Jay Garrick's fight with Guy Gardner, whose first round is about to begin, the arena taking the form of Jay's old lab at Midwestern University, where he got his powers. The Heart explains the rules and the fight begins with Guy going a very obvious old man joke route to Jay, trying to psych him out. Before he can throw the first punch though, Jay stops him, since the Heart of Apocalypse said that this is a game, and while he knows what is at stake and they need to play by the rules, they don't have to give up their souls and kill each other. So instead, why don't they do what he and his research assistants would often do when they are stuck on a problem? Jay gets out an old checkers board, something Guy scoffs at, not thinking the Heart would allow it, but Jay notes how it's not stopped them yet. This is a fantastic idea. Using technicalities in these fights has been a kind of winning formula for them, or all of the heroes at some point have used some sort of technicality or taken the rules literally or figuratively in order to sort of get around having to use some of the rules that the Heart is putting in place. I like the idea of Jay wanting to make this a literal game, taking the rules a little literally, although Guy isn't really the best opponent to be playing games of patience with. The checkers game begins and Jay and Guy move around the pieces, but Guy very clearly doesn't know how to play the game, moving pieces where he's not allowed to. He quickly gets frustrated and tosses the board aside, and Jay tells him to calm down, telling the Lantern that not everything has to be a fight to the death, and he has been a hero since before Guy was born, so he knows what he's doing. Guy becomes enraged, shouting back at Jay that the world has changed since his day, and he and the rest of the JSA should do everyone a favor and just retire. So this pair up is actually quite a great idea. You have this rather patient, older, experienced hero, and then obviously a very hot-headed, impatient, and somewhat violent younger hero. Two opposite generations that's 100% been done on purpose, since that's what the Heart loves and what we've seen across all of these games. It loves making, the spicy decisions and, making the spectacle. That's the whole point of this. Guy goes a little bit too far and mentions Wildcat, who recently in the JSA book actually died, and had he known to actually retire, he would actually still be alive. This hits Jay hard and he tosses his metal helmet at Guy like a frisbee, knocking him back. Jay starts to run around Guy to create a vortex to suffocate him, but the Lantern just blasts out a construct shaped like a buzzsaw that cuts Jay in half, letting Guy win the first round. Like I said in the other books, the first round is always just kind of setting up the stage, kind of feeling out the waters, and then what exactly is the deal with both of the heroes or both the villains who are fighting each other. Now both of them are kind of fired up for that next round, so the next round is like where all the good stuff starts to happen. The Heart loves the fight that it is witnessing, fighting, beginning round 2 where Guy chooses his Red Lantern form and Jay decides to remind Guy of what he is made of. Heroes are transported to New York to where the old JSA brownstone sits. Guy begins looking for Jay, demanding the old man show himself, but Jay's voice tells him that he's all around him, hitting Guy over and over again with lightning. Guy shields himself, but Jay easily busts through the red shield, revealing that Red Rage is not a very good defense. Jay is revealed to have taken on a form of pure Speed Force, which makes him look a bit like Wally's Kingdom Come form. Speaking of Wally, Jay can sense his distress through the Speed Force, but he can't go and help him since if he leaves the battle, he will forfeit the match with Guy and he will win. Jay uses his powers to blast Guy's ring, blowing it up and killing Guy, winning round 2. As Guy is blown up, Jay sees speckles of emerald light, making him realize that Guy is still a very good man on the inside, and he's just a young soldier doing his duty, like he did back in his day. I'm liking Catmull and Wade finding a way to relate to both Guy and Jay together, like characters who could not be more far apart, both generationally and just how they deal with heroic things. But we found some common ground here in that they both realize that they're both soldiers in a war, and that's how they're relating to each other. Jay gets a glimpse of the power the heart could give him, finding it very frightening as he heads into the final round. Elsewhere in the Watchtower, the Darkseid possessed Booster Gold confronts Gorilla Grodd, who tries to enter Booster's mind to bring out whomever is possessing the hero. So I assumed that Grodd knew that it was Darkseid inside Booster's mind, but I quite like the idea that he just thinks it's just some other psychic villain just trying to control the hero to disrupt what the heroes are doing in the tournament. So he thinks it's like just some low rent, psychic who's managed to get the better of Booster, but then he gets a kind of taste of what is in Booster's mind as Darkseid fights back, projecting visions of the nightmarish future he seeks to create into Grodd's mind, revealing himself fully to Grodd. These visions are pretty horrific too. They show zombified heroes and a zombie gorilla city. It's quite brutal to see this sort of stuff on the page. Grodd is overwhelmed and screams in agony, bleeding from his eyes and ears due to the pain, and elsewhere, thanks to their telepathic connection, Lex Luthor senses his pain. And thanks to the editor's note, we know that this is actually going to come up in the next Superman ongoing issue, which is the issue preceding this one. Back at the tournament, Guy takes Jay's words from the last match to heart and transforms into Warrior as the arena shifts to Volda, homeworld of Guy's alien ancestors. Leave it to Mark Waid to bring back this version of Warrior and remind everyone that, oh yeah, Guy kind of has like alien ancestors and has kind of god powers from time to time, which is really cool. I really like that that's coming back in a way, because we had Warrior obviously in Justice League Unlimited as well for a very brief amount of time, so I like that Warrior is back on the menu for Guy to maybe come back as at some point. Jay, however, reverts to his normal World War II form, wielding a lightning bolt spear. This form of Jay is probably my favorite look for him. It just feels like it has like so much weight to it in the costuming and just really looks functional. He's got, the cool looking helmet, the bits of the, the big boots, the utility belt, the gloves, it all just looks right. The fight begins, and while both seem very evenly matched, Guy reveals that it's not just him who Jay is up against, showing him the ghostly constructs of his entire alien heritage. Guy relieves Jay of his lightning bolt spear and throws it back at him, pinning him to a rock face as he creates a giant gun out of his hand, getting ready to kill Jay. Before he does, Jay asks Guy to do him a favor, wanting him to beat the tar out of Darkseid when he sees him. Guy is happy to, blasting Jay with a missile barrage that blows him up, leading to Guy Gardner to win the match. So I'm quite shocked that Jay didn't win, especially since this is a Flash book, and like with the Superman and Aquaman and Titans Fight Month books before it, their respective characters won the match. Cyborg won in the Titans book, Aquaman in the Aquaman book, and Superman in the Superman book. So kudos for Campbell and Wade for bucking that trend and giving Guy a shot at the title. He's definitely a wild card now in this, so I'm intrigued to see how far he's going to get in the next set of rounds. As Guy moves on to the next trial of the heart, we return to the past where Iris talks on the phone about her pending engagement to a forensic scientist she once met at a crime scene she was reporting on. So we're kind of in a messed up timeline at the moment, because of what Impulse has done, so I wonder if the CSI that Iris is talking about going to marry isn't Barry, and it would actually be funny if it wasn't Barry, but was someone like Eobard Thawne or something, like one of his villains. I think that would be kind of interesting. Be a great little twist on the story, although I'm pretty sure it's still just going to be Barry. It's just going to be Barry without his powers. She hears a knock at the door, and upon answering it, she finds Wally, who pretends to not know who Iris is, only saying that he read about her work, but he soon gives up on the whole fake identity and fake story, running inside and putting the unconscious Bart on Iris's couch, telling her to watch over him since he's about to go face some very bad people, and he can't have Bart slowing him down. Iris, who's still very much trying to process who this man and child is in her home, demands Wally explain himself, but Wally heads out, telling her that Bart needs some rest, and he'll be back once he saves Barry Allen. The chaos of the sequence is great, just complete confusion on what's going on with Iris, and as I said, I bet there's going to be a twist where she isn't engaged to Barry, she's engaged to someone else, maybe Eobard Thawne, or has no idea who Barry is or what Barry Allen is. It's a fun little cliffhanger, and one I liked a hell of a lot more than last issue's cliffhanger. The Flash issue 28 was a big step up from the last issue since it was mostly focused on the All Fight Month main event rather than Wally and Bart's story. Jay's battle with Guy was creative and visually interesting. I enjoyed Wade and Cantwell again using technicalities when it comes to the rules of the fight, so we don't just get another two heroes bashing themselves together and, you know, the one who can take the most hits wins. There was some fun creative stuff like actually playing board games in the game and actually choosing to have Guy win the match and buck the trend of the book's titular hero having to win since it's their book was really interesting. I quite like that, and I'm intrigued to see what kind of chaos Guy is going to bring to the next set of rounds of DCKO. I'm going to give this issue an 8 out of 10.